Hey, Doug here with Hope 360. So in this video, I'm going to share with you single living after divorce. So I'm going to share with you 3 points on living single after you got divorced. Hey, before I share that, I just want to let you know there are 13 other videos in this playlist. It's titled Steps to Healing After a Divorce. So I would encourage you to go back and watch some of those as well. One thing I want to say, too, before I share with you these 3 points is there is hope after divorce. Divorce is traumatic, and a lot of people get really down and depressed. They get on medication. They start self-medicating with drugs and alcohol and sex, and that is not the way to go. There is hope after divorce, and I want to encourage you to follow some of these steps in these videos because you can live a fruitful and rewarding and joyful life if you are living under Christ's principles. So the first step into single living after divorce, or the first point I want to make, is let God define who you are. You know, God made you perfect. You are unique. There is no one out there like you. He knows the hairs on your head, the number of hairs on your head. No one else has a fingerprint like you. He loves you the most out of anybody. He created you perfect just the way you are. So let God define who you are. And in saying that, is he calling you to be single the rest of your life? He might be doing that. You might be able to do things that you can't do when you're married. I was single for 14 years after divorce, and if someone would have told me that years prior to all that, I would have said, wow, there's no way. But I leaned on God, I drew close to God, and I was living a joyful life. I was content. In Psalms 139:14, it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. The other thing I want to say is, trust in God as you're now living a single life after divorce. Draw close to him. Do what you can do to draw close to him. Get involved in a Bible-believing church. Get in a small group. Find resources to help with divorced people. On our website at hope360.org, there's a tab for resources. I would encourage you to get on there. And as you're drawing close to God, I want to encourage you to get into a place where you can listen and be still and be quiet. I've had so many precious moments with God when I was hurting and I was just drawing close to him and sitting in a still place and just listening for his voice. Hey, before I get on to point number 2, would you like, if this video is giving you value, would you like and subscribe or comment? When you do that, it pushes this video up on the algorithm and it puts in front of way more people. And I just want to get this video out to as many people as possible to just help them and uplift them and give them hope. I really appreciate it. Okay, so the second point on single living after a divorce, or a point I want to make or address, is remarriage. Can you remarry? It says in the Bible, in Matthew 19:9, that the only way you can divorce and remarry as a Christian is if your spouse committed adultery, if they cheated. You can't divorce for any other reason and get remarried. Matthew 19:9 says, I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, and marries another woman commits adultery. So you don't want to be out of God's will. I would seek, like I said, a pastor or somebody that can help take you through a Bible study that covers that for you. And the third and final point I want to make about single living after a divorce is your pain has a purpose. You can turn your pain into something good. I would say don't waste this trial that you're going through. Your suffering is temporary, but hope in Christ is eternal, because when you pass on from this life, you can spend eternity with Christ in heaven. Like I said, you can use your pain for good. When I went through a divorce, I was years right before the divorce, I was getting ready to start this ministry, Hope 360. And I put it on pause because then I was going through such pain, and it was just traumatic. I wasn't in the headspace to help others at the time. But years after I started healing after the divorce, I started Hope 360, and that I'm glad I waited, because that gave me more motivation and propelled me to push through fundraising and just hard things in starting this ministry. One thing I want to read to you here, it says, joy and contentment aren't ultimately based on circumstances. They're dependent on your relationship with Jesus. Let me repeat that. Joy and contentment aren't ultimately based on circumstances. They're dependent on your relationship with Jesus. Hey, thanks for watching. Watch my next video here, where I'm going to talk about brighter days after a divorce. There are brighter days after a divorce. So watch this video here.